Please welcome actress, a supporter of Israel, and dear friend to Jewish communities around the world, Patricia Heaton.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I want to thank the Consulate General, Anat, and it's been an honor to get to know you this year and work with you and your team. And I have to say, it's been 1 year also since I've been working with my partner Elizabeth, who's here, who is the machine and the engine behind the October 7th Coalition. It wouldn't be happening without her. So I just want to thank her publicly for putting everything together. It's hard to know how to really begin. 1 year ago today, we were just living our lives, raising our families. We were enjoying our careers, contributing to our communities, and all the while, this evil, radical, psychopathic Islamic terrorists were plotting a second Holocaust against Israelis and against Jewish people everywhere. And this is a day that has changed all of us forever. Now, a year ago today, I was in between jobs, and I was asking God, what do you want me to do in this new phase of my life? I never imagined it would be creating a nonprofit to rally Christians to support the Jewish people, but He grabbed my heart on October 7th. And my only choice, and Elizabeth's only choice, was to say, Hineni, here I am. And so the October 7th Coalition, or O7C, was born. Elizabeth and I have committed ourselves to fostering unity and education between Christian and Jewish communities through interfaith events and unity dinners. We support Israeli music through the Nashville program, The Promise Sessions with Temple Shereth Israel. We sponsor various activities. We worked with the consulate here to screen the Hamas body cam footage in Nashville. We hosted a multi-faith audience at the Nova Festival exhibit in Los Angeles and many other events. And 1 year later, this work continues. As was mentioned, one of my first personal appearances for O7C took place at Columbia University when I spoke at the hostage rally. And as we know, there are still 101 hostages in captivity, including Ariel and Kafir Bibas and their parents. The courage of all the hostage families is humbling, especially that of Rachel Goldberg-Polin. Her fearlessness and tenacity continues to be an inspiration, and she is owed our prayers as she now tends to her grief over the death of her beloved son, Hirsch. But despite these horrors and despite the suffering, I firmly believe, I know, that Israel will prevail, because the history of the Jewish people has been one of rising and flourishing wherever they find themselves, despite being attacked, scapegoated, and exiled. What they have created in Israel is what our forefathers did here. And part of our mission at O7C is to help Americans, and especially Christians, understand the significance of a strong, free, democratic society in the heart of the Middle East. Wherever the Jewish people have landed, they have succeeded in creating communities that are welcome to all. The great nation of Israel is a shining testament to their resilience, their ingenuity, and their inclusiveness. We stand here as free Americans in a democratic society because our forefathers founded this country on values based on our Judeo-Christian heritage. These values stand for the right of all human beings to live in a country that respects human rights, and today Israel and America are both places where those rights are fiercely protected. People from all walks of life, from all faith traditions, who want to live in peace and freedom with no fear of persecution or shame can live here or in Israel and expect security and a harmonious existence with their neighbors. In an area where most countries limit or repress basic human rights, Israel alone is a shining beacon. And let's talk about what this freedom has created in Israel. The freedom of expression and freedom to create has led to stellar military and technological advancement. Israel has become a global superpower in these fields, with 1 out of 8 citizens working in these areas. From medical inventions to technology that changes lives, like the exoskeleton that allows quadriplegics the chance to walk again, the flexible stent that revolutionized heart surgery, digestible cameras that make hitherto impossible diagnoses possible, firewall software that protects our data from dangerous cyber attacks, the first global instant messenger, the first USB drive, desert-friendly irrigation, and revolutionary navigation apps. And of course, the incredible blessing of the unparalleled Iron Dome. Israel's developments have changed the way we exist in the world for the better. With over 6,000 startups in Israel, it is yet to be seen how these great minds will continue to change and prosper the lives of all our children and grandchildren for years to come. The Jewish people are small in number, but they are mighty. They choose values like self-determination, joy, resilience, tenacity, and goodwill to all. And these are just a few of the long-standing values that have made Israel great and which make the Jewish people so special. You know, Mark Twain famously revered the land of Israel and the Jewish people, and this is what he wrote. If the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1% of the human race, and that would suggest a nebulous, dim puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jewish people ought hardly to be heard of, but he is heard of, has always been heard of. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his commercial importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his numbers. His contributions to the world's list of great names in science, literature, art, music, finance, medicine, and abstruse learning are also way out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in the world in all the ages, and has done it with his hands tied behind him. He could be vain of himself and be excused for it. Other peoples have sprung up and held their torch high for a time, but then burned out, and they sit in twilight now or have vanished. The Jewish people saw them all, beat them all, and is now what they always were, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of their parts, no slowing of energies, no dulling of their alert and aggressive mind. All things are mortal, but the Jewish people. All other forces past, but the Jewish people remain. What is the secret of their immortality? We, as believing Christians and Jews, know what the secret is. The very first book of the Old Testament states it clearly. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you, and all peoples on earth shall be blessed through you. And what's more, God's promised us victory to the righteous, which is boldly stated in Deuteronomy. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Now, Elizabeth and I also find words of encouragement in the New Testament. God's call to us in this space reminds us of the words that St. Paul said to the Ephesians. Put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you do everything in your power to stand, and when you've done everything, just stand. So, we must take heart. And as Christians and Jews, we have a history of unlikely heroes to draw inspiration from. David was just one young shepherd boy, and he took down Goliath. Joan of Arc was one young peasant girl who saved France. I see before me a room full of Davids and St. Joans. It doesn't take a lot of people to fight this battle, just the right people. And right now, the people of Israel are the right people. I believe I just want to end with this. Israel is now saving the world with the incredible fight that you and they are waging against Hamas and Hezbollah, Iran, the whole evil, demonic system. Israel has the courage, the brains, and the guts to do what no other country on earth is willing to do. The depth of gratitude the world owes Israel is enormous, and because you are sacrificing your beautiful young sons and daughters to save the world from this terror. We don't deserve you, but I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I just want to end with this. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote a beautiful speech in The Lord of the Rings, and it fits so aptly with where we are today. The hobbit Samwise says to his friend Frodo, I know, it's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered. They were full of darkness and danger, they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad has happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. And what was it they were holding on to? That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. Thank you for fighting for the rest of the world, and know that we will always be with you and beside you and for you. Am Israel Chai. Thank you.